into Nuke. It's our second map of our first series of our second phase of our 9th season here at the ESL Pro League, and it's over to Mr. Kaplan and Mr. Biz.
That was a whole lot of numbers there, Alex. I'm impressed. Thank you very much, guys, as we
really
do make our way.
The tongue.
It does. It does. He's perfect at it. He's very good with his tongue. So we're into Nuke, and we're going to be seeing how this one's going to go. OPTIC obviously up 1-0 in the series, and we'll see if FNATIC can fight their way back and take us over to a Dust 2, or if they will unfortunately be taking the L in their first match of our second stage.
Yeah, it'll be a big deal. Like there's only sort of like, what, 3 matches to be played. You lose the first one, then you basically have to win the last 2, otherwise you're leaving it up to other teams to get you through, and that's not what you want. You want to be able to do it off your own ground. The odds coming up actually in favor of OPTIC in this scenario, so the Danes being favored on Nuke. Never would have see that one coming, and already lots of grenades already being expended towards JW, but he has already taken a bit of aggression. It's going to be the wraparound from Snappy.
Dear Lord, this is quick.
Are they going to go all the way back to ramp? This could be so confusing for Brolin. Like, wait, how are they coming from the other angle? It still falls back down. It makes no difference to him. He's just going to position the way he thought he would. Manages to get 2 out of what seemed like an impossible scenario. But MSL trying to hold down the vent, but instead he really wanted that USP, and because of that, he loses his head instead.
Meantime, the bomb's going to be put down here out of Snappy. It's going to be a 2-on-3 situation, and Config's just going to be completely overwhelmed. Now Snappy trying to push back in, trying to take down Twist as he jumps through the door. Gets his headshot off, and FNATIC, even with that crazy little first-round strat out of OPTIC, wrapping all the way around back and towards ramp. They hold strong, basically off the back of Brolin, getting a nice little 2-piece off the bat. Yeah,
no, I would say fantastic work done by Brolin, but also I think the timing of MSL trying to pick up that pistol actually changed the round significantly, because if he is just able to sit and hold on to the vent, they can't rotate properly. It takes them a lot longer to get down. They can have some proper afterplant positions, and it just is a better overall spot, especially considering he was picking up a USP when he was holding vent, which I don't even see the value of it. I'd rather have the Glock and have the extra bullets and just be able to spam into faces. So yeah, a bit of a mistake. It is going to be the force buy backup from OPTIC. Got no problem with this at all. The bomb plant gives you quite a bit of extra cash, plus the loss bonus being higher. You come in with some SMGs, and a lot of the time that's what your opponents have. But FNATIC have decided, let's go for rifles. Let's play it safe. We don't need to build up cash here. We just need to win the round.
Especially when we're over here on Nuke. Try to get every CT round you possibly can. Looks like OPTIC are looking for a setup here. A Molotov coming through, and can burn in on top of Hut. Gonna rush straight out of doorway, right out of Squeaky, and right into the hands of Twist. He gets himself a triple, and JW's waiting, lurking inside of vents. And a relatively clean round here for FNATIC, considering OPTIC did buy up into that round.
Yeah, that's almost the classic matchmaking strat of let's get down the vent and get the bomb down. It doesn't work a lot of the time. Like maybe you'll be able to sneak a player through, but you're almost like definitely going to get caught, and unfortunately for them, Twist was waiting with the AUG from above, and well, this is just the easiest kills he's going to get all day. Like he's not going to miss any of those shots, doesn't have any real pressure on him. So
I feel like that's when you have the most pressure on you, is when you're going for shots that you shouldn't be missing. At least that's how I work. When it's like the easy shots, I struggle.
I feel like if you're in a spot where you could die, but the fact is, even if he misses the whole clip, he can just fade away into heaven, and there's not really a chance of him going down. Unless they were actually trying to take A, so.
But can you fade away from the shame of missing all those shots? Even me, even I could do it.
Even you could do it. Maybe not as well. But,
definitely not as well.
But like, I feel like you could achieve something. Maybe one day.
I am undefeated on LAN when it comes to CS. The good old Pro League Season 1 finals with me, Semler, Moses up against Anders, Devilwalk, and I think it was Natu. I want to say it was Natu. I can't remember who the third player was, because it didn't matter, because we beat them anyways.
I was about to say, did you have more players?
No, it was 3v3. Good old times. And here we go, FNATIC gonna lock down the round. 3-0, not lose a single player yet again. And looking really good now into round 4.
Yeah, this will be the spot where the T's start getting their money going. But this is what you kind of want early on if you're a CT side. Build up a lot of cash, get yourself going. Don't allow the pistol round to go the other way, because that can really kick off the T side. And we know that you can still have those very dominant CT sides. Now, this is where we need to see the sort of the big come up from OPTIC Gaming. They've got themselves the rifles, they've got themselves the utility, so they don't really have any excuses anymore. There's no AWP on the other side, so even a lot of the outer control is going to be a little bit more difficult. And you can see it's much more of a passive hold actually coming in from the CT side because of this very fact. Like, JW can't really be going and facing on the outer spots because the AK is going to win that duel, but they have just sort of changed up their positions because of that. So they know like their weaknesses within that defense. Twist is holding for anybody rotating in. Ramp, Brolin, again, he's fallen back. He's very happy to give up the ramp over onto the T side because the benefits of it aren't massive.
Very reminiscent of the way FNATIC were playing on CT side of Inferno. Just stay alive, just buy time. And then again, OPTIC were doing the same, but just allow your teammates to kind of get a better read. And Brolin's going to have a shot here. He's going to miss out on the first one, which is going to cost him his life. But now Twist is going to be able to come through. He's got Crims here to help out as well. And Twist, I don't believe, has been spotted out. The window has yet to be broken. The bomb has gone down. Now Twist is just going to barrel through. Takes down the window, takes down Snappy, and takes down Config. And again, another round here for FNATIC, looking very solid now in the first half of Nuke.
Yeah, I think the only thing that Twist might be a little bit disappointed by is the fact they didn't spot out the man planting the bomb. Like, it is pretty much as open as it could have been to the window, so if he just peeks in the right direction, he denies the plant and stops the amount of money that is going to be there for the T side. Now, this is, again, one of those situations where I feel like it can be very easy for a team to run out of ideas on the T side of Nuke. It's the same as Train. That's why you see a lot of more dominant CT sided rounds. I believe there was actually stats coming out recently saying that Train has now become like more CT side than any other map, which I do feel like that can be the case because you can just so easily run out of ideas, and I think the AUG definitely benefited Train better than any other map.
Oh yeah, the long distance shots you go for in that one.
Yeah.
Little mini op you got in your hands. I actually, you know, thinking about it right now, I kind of want to see Vertigo. I don't know why that just popped into my head. Because I remember back when Overpass and Cobblestone were added to the map pool, I think this was around like the time of ESL 1 Clone 2015 or something, or 16. All the teams were like, no, we don't want these new maps. We don't want to have to play and learn them. But then they found out, oh, we actually love Cobble and Overpass. And I feel like Vertigo, I mean, as Chad was saying earlier on, with some changes, I think that could definitely be a map that teams will like to actually play. Meantime, JW is going to be pushing out, actually spots them coming in through lower. Brolin's just going to look to mow them down, tries to go bowling, and only gets one, just like me when I play. And unfortunately, it has cost them 3 players, and it's allowed OPTIC to get down towards lower and potentially the bomb plant. But they're trying to make their way back towards upper. MSL is going to charge through. And what?
I think they overplayed their hand.
Tom?
I think that just came down to them trying to overplay it. Like, they had themselves the B side pretty much, and yeah, rotating up the ladder. What was.
Let me ask you, what's the worst thing you can do with a 2-on-1 fight? Is go through a small choke point.
Yeah, and all 1-by-1.
Yeah.
I suppose they can't go through 2 at a time. Won't fit, but it is just one of those situations where, yeah, you really don't want to be doing that. And I believe, like...
They knew Exist was upper, because they just lost a player from Mini, right? Or from, yeah, from Petra. So they should have known, like, all right, we have a 2-on-1 where we don't have to go through a vent. We know he's already in upper. Like, let's just give that one up and go for the plant downstairs. But I'm not sure what the call was necessarily, but it did cost them the round here. It might have cost them another off the back of that, as it looks like FNATIC will be up 6-0 at the end of this.
Yeah, MSL has managed to get into the vents. We've seen this position work well for them, at least in the earlier rounds, but so far, FNATIC looking utterly dominant. Like, I don't know where this team was in the previous map, which was their choice, by the way, but this is looking as clean as you like. Like, they've been switching up players' positions all the way through. Like, note that Brolin in the previous round was not on ramp anymore. They're trying to switch things up and maybe play to different strengths, but at the moment, it's just become a little bit peculiar. Now, you've seen the rotation of Brolin being the only one on B. He's heard the door, he spotted the bomb, and the only real problem is he's actually run out of bullets. Gonna try and finish things off with the use. No. Okay. He wasn't given the chance to go for the knife kill.
I'm wondering, did ENCE break the curse of all their teams going up against the Danish squads on Nuke?
No.
Did they just pull off Indiana Jones and...
I still don't think there's going to be many teams beating Astralis on Nuke. I think that it was bound to happen eventually, but OPTIC had never been near the quality that Astralis have on that map. And at the moment, on the other thing that we've always given credit to Astralis for is just how good they are at managing to pull off rounds on the T side. And the problem for OPTIC at the moment is we haven't even seen them come particularly close. Like, the 2 versus 3 was their best chance, and they just run into the hands of Exist. And you can see the way FNATIC were at the end of that round. They were just laughing. Like, yeah. Just laughing to themselves, because I don't think they really know how they got out of that situation so easily. Like, winning the round, that was possible, but just in the way that they didn't even have to break a sweat.
It's a cheeky push, by the way, to JW to get in towards Secret through outside. Unfortunately, that's just going to spell his demise a little bit quicker than maybe it would have in this round. So with the man advantage now, with Refresh lurking in towards Squeaky, Exist trying to look for the shot, and he gets it as well. He actually clears out an angle that they can now use. You can see MSL coming in. Will they expect Crims? Well, they won't, at least for the first one, but Config will at least be able to trade, keeping things in a man advantage in favor of the OPTIC side. A twist again with the AUG back in towards Heaven. And Brolin trying to rotate in to help out as well. In the meantime, bomb's going to be planted. Brolin's taking his time, but he does have a good flank coming through. He's going to only have to worry about Nico inside of Hut before he can actually get his way in towards the site. He's not going to win on the trade here, Tom.
Yeah, I think that was the most crucial duel of the round. Twist now in a very difficult situation. He does have a kit, but unfortunately he doesn't have a head, which is a little bit more crucial in these situations. So 6-1, the T-side finally get their round on the board.
Kind of makes more sense when people say, you know, those are brainless plays.
Yeah.
Can't really play with a brain if you don't have one.
That is definitely true. I don't really know where to go from here.
No, there isn't anywhere to go from there, unfortunately. But JW, he actually snuck in. I think he was maybe expecting a quicker push in towards outside. Instead of having to go through ramp to get back up there, he actually just snuck in through outside with the flashbang and then just kind of tucked himself in there, hoping that they would get a little bit more aggressive and maybe pick up the pace in that position. And speaking of picking up the pace, with that Molotov coming down and miss thrown out of OPTIC, has actually shut down the push coming through in towards upper. In the meantime, Crims has actually get a free frag onto Refresh and escape with his life, more importantly.
Yeah, even now, like, look post-buy how much money there still is for FNATIC. They are still in a very strong position in this half. In the T side, the amount of damage that was even just done at the end by Twist, able to pick off a final kill, has helped them out significantly. We're also seeing a lot of Molotovs, a lot of utility being expended onto outside early. Like, bear in mind, JW went down early in the last round because 3 Molotovs were thrown in towards Secret. 3. To try and just clear one angle. Like, that is so much utility to try and get rid of him. And now we sort of see similar situations. They're using so many nades early on. They don't even realize that JW's here. But finally, thankfully, for their team, Config is actually going to turn around and be able to finish him off. So that will give them the opener once again. Exist on the site, has the support from Crims, but he's just going to be traded out. And that's been the problem over the last 2 rounds. The trading from OPTIC has been decent. They've just been able to keep themselves going in these positions. It is going to go back into a 2 versus 2, but you look at Twist in Vent with an AWP, and these are the sort of plays you have to try and make. Luckily, it's almost like he's a bit of a distraction plan. MSL knowing where he is, though, will make things very difficult, but he gets the kill anyway. Manages to get up the Vent. I don't think he realized he'd got up there yet. Oh,
insult to injury as he does pull that off. I don't know how that works out as well. But he hits the shot nonetheless. Even goes back for a second, too. He doesn't even have a kit, but he's like, you know what? I want that second shot. I don't want him coming back up alive as a zombie.
Well, that's like the Zombieland rules, isn't it? That's one of the main rules, double tap.
I don't remember which one. But clearly in Counter-Strike, it's #1.
Yeah.
Right after, you know, don't be a tit, buy a kit.
I thought it was don't be a loser, buy a diffuser.
You know, we come from different parts of the world.
Well, 7-1. The T side, at least, managing to get themselves a bomb plant will give them the extra finances to buy into this round. Also, the loss bonus is back, which is nice. It's going to be a faster play coming out from MSL, trying to use that AWP to find an opening pick, but will be denied by Fire, which actually spreads further into his direction. The rest of the team looking to try and pounce out onto this site, and MSL will get the opener, and in fact, his team chime in with him. It is going to be the opening picks all going the way of this T side, and now CTs don't really have a choice. They've got to try and hold on to their weaponry. Even into the next round, their financial stability is going to be pretty poor.
Kind of a shame, too, considering they've, what, won this many rounds? And this many rounds in a row as well. JW, in the meantime, obviously wants to save his M4, but if he can pick up a couple of kills here or there and maintain it, he's going to be very happy. Bro, in the meantime, able to pick up the AWP, which is going to be so important. But we haven't seen JW really being gifted it. He doesn't really play outside with it at the moment.
No, it was actually Twist who had it in the round that we saw. Obviously, the last round, he managed to get that final kill. But yeah, the AWP hasn't been particularly impactful so far. It's actually been the AUG when Twist had it. I do think that's the value of having like 2 prominent or previously primary AWPers. Is just the fact that if there's a map that a teammate doesn't particularly like to play, you can switch it up. It was the same way that if you look at Mouse Sports or the old Mouse Sports roster, their Nuke game, Oscar didn't really like AWPing the CT side, so Chris J did it instead.
I could do you one better. Okay, I could have. Kenny S and Happy. Old school days. I think it was G2. No, Envious back then, I think they were called. where they could both opt, but it just depended on if Kenny S was feeling on point at the time or if Happy was feeling on point. They just were able to rotate it around, and I think that was actually before double up setups became really integral into the game of Counter-Strike.
Yeah. The only problem I would ever have is if they did favor Happy over Kenny. I was like,
yeah, I mean, come on, right?
It's Kenny. You can't take it away, even if he's not having the best day.
You know, he's my Thunder buddy. You ever seen Ted, the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's my Thunder buddy. If you're watching Kenny, I miss you.
You're both scared of Thunder.
Sure.
Well, that was the main reason they called themselves
I know what the main reason was.
You're both terrified of thunderstorms.
I actually don't remember how that started. Having to do with, I think, a big storm in France.
Oh,
and I was sending him that little GIF. And Nico just sent Brolin a little gift with a bullet between the eyes.
I don't want to know what a big gift is. If death is just a little one, but
well, I mean, it's Nico. You can guess what the big gift would be.
Let's move.
Nice, a big hug.
Yeah. Okay. 7-2. A third looking likely. If OPTIC can break back now, set the economy of their opponents back in, this really could be the way to turn them around. It's going to a lot be onto Twist with this AWP. Now, him getting more than one here is going to be pretty difficult, but there you go. Just a solo peek, no flashbang, nothing available. The jump across, though, very smart. The bait and switch will mean that we see the fall of multiple players from FNATIC and leave Exist alone. So unless they're all going to come running up a ladder into his hands, I think this might be an OPTIC round.
That was really, really surprising, actually, for MSL to be the one to not jump across. Because if he misses the op shot, there could have been a world where Twist could have maybe caught out one more player. Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered much in the long run because they were down to 2 players only, but interesting to see that, actually. But I like the split-second decision to just say, okay, I'm just jumping, because we know we have him in a bad position. But here we go, OPTIC now starting to get some rounds going. 3 straight on the board in just a few seconds. They've already been able to win the first weapon on Inferno, which was FNATIC's choice. And if somehow FNATIC can stabilize and maintain their current pace here and win Nuke, we'll be going over to Dust 2, and we still have, what, another game to come up today. Still got Hellraisers up against Aristocracy.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Still waiting in the wings to get their match time. You know we're going to eventually call them Aristocats on accident.
Yeah, it's a good film, though. Everybody wants to be a cat.
Unless you have more than half a brain, you would realize dogs are better. So, OPTIC now. I know you're a cat person.
Yep. To be fair, I like both, but I do prefer cats. So I'm against the main trend, I feel.
It's cool. To each their own.
Mm.
Just imagine you with a hairless cat.
Don't conform. That's all it is.
Just get one of each.
Fight the system.
Oh, look at this, though. FNATIC, in the meantime, they're pushing up towards outside really aggressively. MSL might be overwhelmed. He does have a teammate there. He misses his second shot, though, and Config and Nico can be able to help him in time. And immediately puts the brakes here out of FNATIC as they halt that aggression. Config had gone down, but I don't think they're going to be super likely to pick up this weapon or feel confident to, because Snappy's wrapped around behind them. Look at this. Catches out JW down to 13 HP. Now they know they've lost complete control of ramp. They could be flanked from so many different directions. Brolin's going to be trying to watch towards heaven, but I think OPTIC right now, if you're them, just focus on winning this round without losing another player. Stabilize that economy even more. You can see Nico down to 1,900 bucks. And MSL, I mean, when he's on, I feel like. When he's hitting his shots like we saw on Inferno, he was really hitting some good shots and some really good windows of timing. Problem is that when he's cold, rounds start to fall apart.
Yeah, and, or even just like overconfidence in a sense, like the odd missed shot can really punish them. But yeah, we've seen majority of decent open coming out from MSL. So the worrying prospect as well is the fact that really the CT side have started to fall a little bit flat. The money is also sort of falling out between their hands, which is a problem. In the next round they'll be able to buy, so it's not the end of the world. And Exist, they may just be forced into another save of this rifle, give them at least a little bit of extra cash, have the potential to maybe drop an AWP, as they are just losing these rounds in streaks, which will benefit them in terms of finances. Not what you want to be doing, especially on Nuke, but
well, as we were saying before, it could come out to actually like help them out too, considering if they lose, you know, these 4, 5, 6 in a row, they're actually able to win a round, lose, and still be fine on money and still be looking good into the round after that.
Yeah, I feel like if you're on the T side of Nuke, that's fine. Whereas if you're on the CT side, you really don't want to lose 5 or 6 in a row. Like that's when you sort of go, it's not going too well for us here. And I think that's the other thing as well, is like if you can do what OPTIC are currently doing, where they're starting to grind out some decent rounds, I think their trading has actually been fantastic. Like they found the opening pick, and then from then onwards, it's just 1-for-1 trades all the way through the round. And it means that some of the rounds have been fairly close, and there have been moments where you sort of see it possible that it will slip away from them. But it's always just going to be the sort of fundamentals that on maps like this where you really are just grinding out these rounds on the T side.
You know, it seems like the rounds, at least a couple of rounds OPTIC have been able to win, haven't necessarily been off the back of a strat. It's been more off the back of a pick. Like JW getting caught out in secret, being Molotov'd off and finished. JW getting caught behind one of the containers outside, gets caught by, I think that was Config pushing towards upper or towards towards you know, hell and heaven. It's just been FNATIC getting caught out in these rounds. It's not like OPTIC's been, you know, engaging or, you know, pulling off these really good executes. You know, hell, we even saw a round earlier where they tried to rush out Squeaky to get towards Vent, and they Molotov themselves off. So I feel like they've been doing a really good job of taking advantage of the way FNATIC have been playing, at least in terms of getting these picks and opening up into a man advantage.
Yeah, I think the mid-round calls as well from MSL have been very, very good. Like, I think once they've actually managed to find the opening picks, the choices he's been making and the map control they've managed to gather has been strong. And as said, they've been able to just fundamentally just force FNATIC into save situations just by gaining positions. Now, we see, at least in this round, it's going to go back to the sort of, okay, let's play more passively. Let's not give away too much map control early on. Nico is going to manage to force JW back. And they've dropped the AWP, but I don't actually mind that. We saw better rounds coming out from FNATIC when the AWP wasn't in their hands.
It seems like OPTIC have been able to apply pressure across the entire map now. Been able to sneak a guy in towards Secret to punish JW. They've been able to take control of ramp as well, which Brolin's backed off on. So if anything, FNATIC have been able to keep themselves alive. And again, as we mentioned before, buy time. Problem is they don't know where this hit's coming until I think just about this second, as Crims has a welcoming party as they just rush out of Squeaky Door. Actually gets the first one, gets refreshed down to about 7 HP, or 1 HP actually. Meantime, JW actually pushes up towards Vent, gets the elimination himself, and Snappy gets some quick double.
Config finally manages to get his lurk in play, but I just wonder if it's too little too late, as he's got so much left to do and only 15 seconds to do it. Just flashbangs being bombarded in, and the spray comes through the smoke. Almost close out. Brolin himself is low, and I think there was an attempt maybe to consider B, but he just doesn't have time anymore. Has to try and get the final kills, and it's not going to be happening. Twist just patiently waiting. Ooh. Even goes to try and find the final kill. Obviously knowing that if Config goes down at the end of the round, he won't have any finances or won't get any loss bonus. The thing is, though, that wouldn't have actually mattered because they have so much money left. They've managed to, well, basically just get themselves a lot of cash over the last few rounds, so it wouldn't have made much difference him getting that kill, and him going down actually could have done. Well, just look at their money even with him saving the rifle.
Well, we are going to see the AWP again, though. I think, as you mentioned before, the AWP hasn't really been too successful for the side of FNATIC. But if you look at OPTIC, MSL has been able to open up on a couple of different occasions, which we kind of talked about on Inferno being very difficult to do so on that T side, whereas CT side was looking phenomenal. Oh, wow. This time, Refresh is able to get down towards lower, take down Brolin right off the bat here. It's forced JW to rotate back in towards ramp, and should allow the side of OPTIC to get down towards lower, get this bomb down, and force FNATIC to play for the retake.
Yeah, or just save. Like, that's genuinely the position that they're in at the moment, where just they don't have the money. They don't have much utility in terms of, like, incendiaries to actually clear out a lot of the angles. And, okay, they've got the kits available for them, but a 5 versus 3, the bomb down on the B site, this is not happening.
Again, I feel like that wasn't necessarily a strategy out of OPTIC. They just, like, all right, Refresh, just go rush lower. Like, get down there, get a quick kill. Take down Brolin, open up things for us to actually push. JW was, again, forced to rotate back in towards the ramp, and it allowed them that full control.
Yeah, I think they've started to slowly find the holes in the defense of FNATIC, and I think that's something, again, you have to give props over to OPTIC for, because it's, as said, it's very easy on this map to run out of ideas and get bogged down and just continuously try to push things, but they haven't.
Isn't this something what Chad was saying, actually, on the desk earlier on with Alex, about, like, the really kind of ratty play, not in terms of, like, a negative way of saying it or meaning it in a negative way. It's just the ratty kind of play. And, you know, just setting a player randomly just to go down lower and catch someone like that is definitely consistent of that kind of style.
Yeah, for sure. It's annoying. Like, that's what you can say, is what you said as well. Like, these sort of plays that are a little bit ridiculous. Config going to be trying it again, just straight through the door. And that's Crim's gone within a few seconds. They've gone for the investment here, bought up into this round, trying to save themselves the half rather than just waiting. And in the meantime, they managed to get the bomb down the vent. So this is already going to be a plant onto this B site once again. No players lost. Brolin trying to fight it just with the CZ. And Twist is going to be Molotov down straight away. Like, these are just the plays that once they get into these after plant positions, they have been fantastic. Like, it hasn't been, like, talk about the early rounds. They weren't getting the bomb down. They weren't really in retake scenarios. There was a few closer 1 versus 1s.
Wait a minute.
However, this has somehow swung the other way. JW with a couple of kills. There is a kit onto Twist as well. Like, this round seemed over, but now Refresh is left into a clutch. I never saw this coming, but actually, he quickly ends the life of 1. Looks to hide behind the doors, Exist has to try and get himself the kit. He's actually on the full defusal, but Refresh calmly, collectively closes the round. Everybody will die, but for OPTIC, it doesn't matter.
I wonder what would have happened, because I think Exist was sitting upper, just kind of waiting like for anyone to retreat out of vents, but not actually expecting, okay, we're going to push, right? Twist got a quick double, JW got a quick double, and then he's like, oh, maybe I should get down there, help out, maybe pull this round off. It doesn't work out from the end, but so much damage done. Credit to Twist to be able to pick up 2 with the AWP in the position he was in, because he was Molotoved off twice and from both positions. And he was still able to get a frag there and really kind of claw their way back. But FNATIC, they took 7 straight. I think they lost about 5 straight after that, or 6 straight after that. And are now looking to be just, what, a 1-round lead at the end of the first half of Nuke?
Yeah, this has been a great resurgence. Like I said, when we were at the beginning, sort of like 6-7 rounds, like, where was this FNATIC when we were playing Inferno? I don't know where they've gone. Like, it seemed like every single thing that OPTIC were doing in the early rounds, FNATIC were prepared for it. Like, they had Brolin well positioned every single time. He was able to find a decent amount of kills. Since then, I'm pretty sure he's been overwhelmed almost every single time. And I think the T's have just been so good at working those opening picks and forcing players into awkward duels that they don't want to be taking. And this has been one of the main plays they're making. Just running straight out onto the A side. Exist with a fantastic shot to start. But he's not going to get anything else done. JW, however, will chime in with one of his own. And actually, the CT side at least going for 1-for-1 in a lot of these duels. The big problem they have at the moment is the bomb being down.
Luckily for OPTIC, though, they do have a 2-on-2, and they have Twist very low on health. And actually has been spotted out. Luckily, escapes with his life. Flashbang to come in through out of Refresh, trying to allow him an angle to shoot from. Now both players are low on HP, and well, not both. Alex here to say it for me, but in France, we'll say. If you can say it, feel free. It's like yeah, I can't
Montpellier.
Even do it. Yeah, there we go. We'll go with that one.
Montpellier. Put the accent on it, makes it sound so much better.
I'm American. We're bad at accents. Even our own.
I'm not going to disagree. JW, oh, is he going to try and go down the vent? If he does, there's a man down there waiting for him. Refresh. He knew what you were trying to do, JW. He's read you perfectly. He's been great in pistol rounds, but this time will be overwhelmed. Nico not able to connect, but they do have a lot of the information. Rotation in, he needs at least 1 here.
Hello?
Gets away with that, but can't do anything more. Snappy now above has to be a little bit careful. Crim gets the timing right, but Config will be quick to trade. Leaves it into a 2 versus 2. Will still survive in the vent.
That was super awkward. 3 players couldn't take down the 1 there. Oh, Config gets the shot, gets a 2nd as well, and a 3rd, gets the tags down. Those HP's low, knows exactly where both players remaining here for FNATIC are, which allows potentially his teammate to rotate in if they want to. But again, bomb hasn't been put down just yet. 50 seconds left to go. Snappy going to be covering lower. Config going to be covering upper. And if FNATIC can just somehow force out this 2v1 here up against Snappy, I think they have a legitimate chance here to take this pistol round.
Exist. Checking up top, leaves it all onto Config. The chance for FNATIC to now take their pistol, but Config pops the first head, and actually, the last man's a little bit further around the corner. He knows exactly where Exist is and has done so much damage onto his opponent. This should be easy for Config, and it is. Both kills going his way. OPTIC will take another pistol, and is that all 4 gone their way now?
3. FNATIC 1 pistol round on CT side of Nuke in the first half.
Okay, so that's the only one that they've lost.
Actually, I want to ask you about this too. When you're in a 2-on-2 situation like that, would you rather gamble and separate your CT players, put 1 lower upper, or stick them together in 1 site, then go for the retake in a 2v2?
I think on any other map, I would be more up for doubling up. But I think in this map, it's very difficult because the only quick rotation is through the ladder. If you're both going that way, you've lost. Like, just to get down there.
Earlier on.
Yeah, it's so difficult. If you're going up the ladder, you really are screwed, and going down, you're just hoping there's no one there. So I can understand why they split the defense in this scenario. And, well, when you have players who can just like ping off a couple of shots the way they do, I don't really blame them.
Okay. We're now going to a tied scoreline here. Bro going to get a smoke really deep. To allow him to potentially push on towards outside. Block off towards window.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to sell this as a bit of a fake, but with the aggression already and Snappy's position, able to just spray down two. It isn't any investment here from FNATIC, so this is just a chance to try and get the bomb down. Config, just 2 bullets is all he needed. And JW now, well, the $600 really wouldn't go amiss. If he could manage to sneak one of these frags, I think MSL was spotted him though. Then yeah, the team are focused in, but there you go. That is actually enough money that he'll be able to get an AWP in the next round if he wants it. So big difference maker. Almost manages to finish off Config as well. That really would have been a lot of finances for him. Now, does JW buy an AWP? Because that would be the sort of beauty of it if he does.
Definitely would be a risky buy up here. I mean, we just saw, was it Snappy holding towards ramp, sitting behind the boxes, not giving an angle to be shot at with an AWP. Outside, I'm not sure if there's going to be anything different here for him. So it looks like he will not invest into that. Just going to go for the AK this time. Up against the triple AUG. The MP9 out of refresh. And you go with your favorite weapon in the game.
Yeah. For a minute, I thought it was going to be an XM. I was excited. When I looked down, he's got FAMAS. Disappointed. MSL. I think after JW's previous attempt of going down the vent, he thought he was going to try and do it again. Instead, JW just played him his own game. The smoke, though, actually given an edge. But even still, only a trade. FNATIC would definitely take that.
They're going to push in towards lower. Brolin just has his number completely. Switches out the AK for the AUG and refresh. He's going to be in towards connector here, but he's not going to have the best weapon to play his position. Snappy's going to be there to cover him off as well, but it's going to be a 2-on-4 here for OPTIC. And I think the chances of taking this round are just going to be slipping away out of their hands once this bomb gets down. It gets more likely cleared in towards this lower site.
Yeah,
taking their time, too.
Yeah, it's a super tough situation for the remaining CT players, and they're just basically going to do what's expected, just gamble onto one of the sites. 2 versus 4. JW also spotting out one of the players. Will give them quite a bit of information. Now, if they can get this extra kill, make things a bit more costly for the T side, it's not going to make that much difference in terms of their buy going into the next, but it could at least diminish how much money FNATIC are going to be able to build up.
Yeah, I think it's important for FNATIC to not even necessarily chase these weapons just because you don't have much money yourself to use, right? And you want to be able to maintain these 3 AKs and especially the AUG into the next round.
Even still, though, it does look like there's going to be a little bit of hunting coming out from JW. No real support from the rest of his team. Although we do actually have Brolin, I believe, as well, just scoping things out on the ramp. But JW is not going to be handed a kill here. There's absolutely no reason for either of the remaining CT players to peek. They will hold on to their weaponry, but yeah, it will just be a pistol or 2 invested into the next round. Those 2 players may be able to go for a little bit of aggression, maybe try and take the fight to FNATIC on the outside, which is something we really haven't witnessed too often. I think it was the one eco round that we saw from FNATIC where they just like threw everyone outside. Other than that, there hasn't been like an actual challenge. It has just been very passive holds. Again, I think something Chad mentioned on the desk is a lot of teams don't necessarily fight outside that much anymore. It is just the sort of passive ability to at least spot players if they're going in that direction and try and take favorable angles rather than the old classic of going into the garage and just peeking.
Oh, I used to love doing that.
I used to love watching it.
Yeah.
I wasn't very good at doing it myself.
What I remember seeing was there's a play on the outside I get right. He just hit this most ridiculous shot.
When he jumped around the corner. Yeah, I think he did that to Device, I want to say.
Could have been. We just get so many great plays potentially outside. It looks like Nico will be there to actually hold a little bit of an opposition. Actually, they do have MSL pushed up here. I think Crim's just spotted him out too. So this should be a little bit of a surprise here for MSL as Crim's going to open things up. In the meantime, the rest of his teammates are going to be pushing in towards ramp where Snappy's going to be waiting. Snappy's going to be spraying, and Snappy's going to be hoping he can get more than just 2. But 2 is a lot of damage done with Nico there to help him out. And Nico's going to clean up the next 2. And just like that, OPTIC bounced back in this round.
Yeah, they actually went for that sort of riskier buy, and because of it, they've come out on top. Like, this is a huge round for them to take away from FNATIC, considering the money for the T side is not yet built up. Crim's left in a clutch situation. Personally, I wouldn't want any other member of this FNATIC side in these sort of spots. He is a man who can pull off, well, ridiculous things at times, but this surely is impossible. He's going to peek back. He knew that Snappy could be close, but not that close.
I'm kind of surprised to see them just go in towards ramp try like that. I think they had like one flashbang to open things up with, but they didn't have anyone checking the angle where Snappy was going to be behind those boxes. I was expecting maybe a little bit more just to get that guaranteed control because they're, again, funneled into this tight position. He gets to, more importantly, he gets to and escapes as well. It's not like they actually got the return frag on him to allow him to push in towards lower, and then Nico there being in from hell is able to help clean up the next two. So with FNATIC having the man advantage off the get-go, catching MSL on the outside, OPTIC do bounce back and take the round themselves, put themselves up to 10 and 6 away from taking their first match here in this stage.
Yeah, and bear in mind, Aristocracy and Hellraiser are the next two teams they have to face. You would think that they've got the big bad wolf out the way if they can actually take themselves a victory here. So that really could be massive in our group at Pro League, like if OPTIC get the first win.
I don't think we're grasping at straws saying that FNATIC should be the favorable team. Yeah. I mean, you even heard, Chad talking about it before with Alex, like they should be the favorable team, the favorites to win this series. But for them to come back after Sydney, to lose to OPTIC, to who knows what happens up against Hellraisers and Aristocracy, this is not the start you want to have here, especially with the big tournament on the line right around the corner.
Yeah, and I think for the other teams as well, you're then also worried because for the other two, it's sort of like, okay, if we beat OPTIC, if we beat, well, one or the other, like Hellraisers or Aristocracy, we get through. But it's sort of like, if OPTIC have now beaten FNATIC, it really does like throw the group into turmoil. Now this round at least, 3 for 3. Complete even trades. The T's, you have to be a little bit careful. There's some aggression coming out from MSL. Now, he got caught with his pants down in the last round. This time, he's going to do the same to JW and bring back this round into their favor. Bear in mind, there's 25 seconds left on the clock.
They do have the bomb, luckily, in the hands of Exist. They don't know where Refresh is going to be, and he is just waiting. He is just ready to pounce on top of whatever player comes around this side. Spots out Twist, spots out his legs, takes him down, gets the second onto Exist, and OPTIC are looking good here, 11-9. Looks like that curse was not broken about Danish teams when it comes to Nuke, but they still have 5 more rounds to go to close this out.
Yeah, they managed to do the work on the T side, grind out rounds back from being so far behind, and now they're in the driver's seat. They're on the CT side. They're the ones with the money in their pockets. Like, pretty much everything is in their favor at this point.
I don't know if I'm like completely right in this statement, and maybe you can help me out, but I feel like OPTIC have won a lot of these rounds on Nuke. Not necessarily on team play. Maybe T side have team play, yes, because they're able to refrag really well. But on CT side, it comes down to these like really good individual plays. Like we've seen what Snappy get a nice little double with Nico there to rotate in to help out as well. On T side, it wasn't really like they were necessarily playing fully as a team. They did some like really, again, like ratty plays, as Sponge was saying before, sending, was it refreshes randomly to lower to catch out Brolin. They haven't really necessarily been playing. Oh my gosh. All right, Nico. You just made me completely forget what I was talking about there. But it looks like OPTIC will go 12-9 now.
Yeah, and a nice clean round of that to start building up those finances. And, well, we're actually going to see another tactical timeout called by FNATIC, utilizing pretty much every single one they have. I think they might have one more after this to go. So it really is getting to the point where clearly they're feeling the pressure. We know that at this point of the tournament, it pretty much comes down to the fine margins. Like 3 best-of-3s, you lose 2 and you're preying on others to mess up. Like basically, if you lose 2, someone has to go 3-0, otherwise you're out. And then the other sort of side of things is it's kind of out of your own hands. So if they lose this first one, they have to then go on and win the other 2. Now, you'd expect them to. At the same time, you'd expect them to win this one.
Well, you also have to kind of hope that you're not in NIP shoes when it came to their group, because there was a 3-0, and there was 3 1-2s. And because they lost the head-to-head, since Heroic had more maps, since they won a map.
Don't try and work this out, please.
Well, because they won more maps, Heroic was through, but then they had to go to the head-to-head up against Devils 1, now Aristocracy, and then unfortunately they lost in that match against them. So keeping the fate in your own hands is definitely what you want to see happen. And right now OPTIC are doing just that. Again, Crim's going to push on towards outside, takes down Nico. A little bit of a pickup in pace, I'd say, out of FNATIC here.
Yeah, and a pickup from Crims as well. Last few rounds, he has been the real like ray of sunshine for FNATIC, and Everybody else has sort of fallen off a little bit. JW, though, winning another duel, and that's 3 for 3 so far in this round. For FNATIC, another for Twist. Can we get the team ace? We just need Exist to pick up a kill. He's going to get the points from the bomb, so I suppose everybody's done something this round. It's left onto MSL. Now, all he can really hope for is to keep this orb. Like, even exit kills, the value of them are fairly diminished. Oh, that is a ratty play. just to go walking through your own smoke. Didn't expect anybody to be there, and, well, how does that come out of nowhere? Like, we've been praising OPTIC for so long, then we get pretty much 5 1v1 duels, and JW win every single one. It was
like switch up a pace, right? It was just all of a sudden, let's send Crims outside, just rush into it, takes down Nico in the 1v1, and that really allowed them to take down more. I think JW got a little bit lucky, though. I don't remember who it was coming out of vents, but he like kind of had like a perfect position at the perfect time. The player who came out of vents was looking in towards connector, so he wasn't even looking towards JW, allowed him to pick up his own 1v1. But to be fair to FNATIC overall, they all hit their shots, and they all allowed them to keep the scoreline relatively close, as it's currently 12-10. OPTIC still have the lead. They still have CT side of Nuke, and they still have that one map under their belts already. So technically, they could lose out on this one and still go to Dust 2 and have a legitimate chance here to actually win the Series 2-1.
Yeah, I think after FNATIC's performances on Dust 2 at Sydney, I don't think they want to go to Dust 2. Like, managing to have a very good performance versus Team Liquid. I think they also won that map versus NIP, or at least it was incredibly close as well. I think that, yeah, that was the overtime game. JW already, though. And this is the worry. Like, we've started to see over the last couple of rounds a few FNATIC players spring into life, the same way we saw from OPTIC, except they've actually done it a little bit earlier within this half. So already a weakened buy for OPTIC. They had themselves a couple of SMGs, I believe. I'm not quite sure what Refresh has, but it doesn't matter because he has nothing now.
It kind of goes back to, again, what Chad said. He actually said it back in Sydney as well, as he said here today, that FNATIC, when it comes to these close matches, win off the back of clutches. Or these like individual plays, which we've now seen happen yet again. Just, you know, JW opens up, Crims opens up, Twist. Someone is just getting that initial frag they need. Not even, again, off the back of like being flashed in or being smoked in or something. They're just hitting the shot when they needed to allow them to have a man advantage and then work off the back of that. So let's see if FNATIC can keep this pace up. They still have time on the board here. They still have one player to worry about in towards lower. That's going to be MSL.
Yeah, and we can almost basically say that if he doesn't manage to do some real work here, that the round is over. Like, the other players are all hoping that this is going to be some sort of a hit. Sure, they have the quick rotations initially, but if this becomes a 5 versus 3, it's going to be so tough. And Twist is just hoping to bait it out. He shoots his arm. And while Molotov will force MSL off the angle, he's going to be able to fade back towards the ramp. I believe JW will have heard the rotation, just going to look to try and drop down, and again, just gets past the scope. And at that point, there was no way that MSL was going to be able to hit that flick. And yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Like, MSL needed something to go right there, otherwise the remaining players on the team are just going to have to save.
Just kind of sucks for him 2 rounds in a row. He gets caught looking like the other side.
Yep.
He's watching the left side of ramp. He's watching the right side of smoke from Secret previously in the round before.
I will say for JW there, he clearly knew that because he jumped over the scope. So like that is like, for the first one, I would say that MSL was unlucky. For the second one, JW was playing well. Like, he was smart in his decision to try and jump over where you'd normally hold. Like, that's just the place that you would normally be looking in that position. So up against another AWPer on the other side, I guess he just knew, well, I'll probably look here, so let's just try somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, he's an AWPer himself, so he probably knows how he'd play in that situation. But FNATIC are now on the grind here, 11-12, getting themselves one step closer, taking us to a third map. Again, just JW holding an angle, takes a shot. Yeah, you saw there, just jumps completely over where MSL was aiming. And OPTIC, again, they don't really have the money to put up a good buy here. They have an AK, they have an AUG, they have an M4, and 2 flashbangs for utility. On the side of FNATIC, though, they have everything they could possibly want here in this round. And they still have a lot of bank to roll off of after, even if they lose this one and the next one after.
Yeah, they're in a very good position now. And JW, I think that's 3 rounds in a row now. We've just seen him find picks. Just like very aggressive ones as well, just peeking into different angles over onto A. Nico trades one back, but it really isn't much, and considering Snappy's now the only one with a rifle in hand, doesn't matter for MSL. He still gets a 1-for-1 trade, which, considering he only had a USP, is pretty impressive. Refresh looking to try and do the same. There might be a trade here, as there is Snappy. What? Okay, never mind. JW's just stepped up to the point of no return. It's again, it's looking like the last map where this man has just come alive at the right time.
I mean, he's done fairly well over the entire series. Thinking back to Inferno, I think it was Brolin had like 26, he had like 25. They were like neck and neck between each other, but he was leading at 20 to his team when we had 16 for Brolin. The rest were under 10 each. So he's definitely been playing consistent, which was really nice to see out of him. And like you said, I think it was like 3 rounds in a row he was able to get that entry frag just by holding an angle or just taking a shot. Again, not with really much support from his teammates to allow that to happen. Very reminiscent of what we did see out of OPTIC on their T side. I think you can see they're feeling the pressure here. I mean, they've played so many long series in Sydney, now here.
This is a FNATIC pause as well. So I think, you remember in the last map, they made a long comeback. I think it was 13-6 or 7 down, and they managed to bring it all the way to close, and then they lose it out there. So I think this is actually the perfect time to be taking a pause. Like, you don't want to be taking a pause when it's too late. You're already right at the sort of depth, and it's like 15-12 or something if they lose the round. So instead, they're going to take it here. Have a little bit of a calm before the storm and give themselves a chance to now take the final few rounds of this map.
And not mistaken, that's their last one too, so they don't really have much more to stop the pace if OPTIC do get to roll themselves. Nico in a perfect position, takes the shot on the first, gets the second as well. Nico with the 2K yet again. Now Snappy able to help support him, his fallen teammate, as he takes down Exist, and now we're going to see JW and Twist, the last 2 players left alive, up against 3. Twist does have the bomb with them on towards outside, and JW has the flank. The problem is that the player he's hoping to push in towards ramp is not moving. Snappy going to be holding steady. And Twist, there we go. If he just randomly hit that shot there, I would have been so tilted for Snappy.
Oh, Snappy, they now know he's there, but they also know where Twist is. He got plenty of time to play with, 55 seconds, about half the time left in the round. He knows that the likelihood is we're going to see the CT side split up and look for clues. A little bit of Scooby-Doo action. But the fact is, he's just going to try and work that 1v1. Then get in with the AWP. He's actually got a very good chance of winning the round. The problem is, Snappy's staying still while his teammates actually just been pushing different positions. So they've started to whittle down the remaining positions, and while you can already see Snappy just spots out and even takes the re-peek. I don't think Twist was ever expecting him to peek again, and they managed to take home another round. So 13-12, the pause actually seemed to work out in their favor, because that was the decision they've made. Well, that's the first time we've seen them do it. Not 1, but 2 players pushing outside. And you could definitely see when FNATIC killed the first, they were not expecting Nico to be there at all.
Yeah. And I was actually surprised to see Nico jump the gun on the shot too. I was almost expecting him just to hold it, just to wait a second. I see it, Tom. We'll touch on it when we get to it. Your favorite weapon is back in play. And not a bad map to do it. I can't remember who was the player off the top of my head who just made it so...
Hiko.
It was Hiko on this map, and how important it was.
At least for me. Like, it was definitely Hiko who was just sitting on top.
Inhuman reaction, Hiko. He's looking for a team, by the way.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just brought that up because I was
pick him up.
Doing World of Esports, and they talked. We had our own segment actually about Hiko being teamless, and I was like, you know, thanks Hiko for the money for advertising. Anyways, 12-13 for OPTIC. Weaponry not looking solid, but Nico in a good position again to be an impact player, and there we go. Takes down Exist, takes down the bomb as well. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Things have got a bit dicey for Brolin. He's definitely worried about players peeking in from Mini as well, but it doesn't seem to matter. Nico's actually still holding his ground, and the fact is now the bomb's actually been moved further into his position, so he's now got an even better angle onto the bomb. They have to fight him, but they also have to be wary of other players. Now, Refresh, you couldn't get a better spot here for the XM. He doesn't manage to get the kill onto JW. Luckily, Config from behind somehow manages to make a long-range MP9 twist. That was close, but not quite enough, and JW now left in a 1 versus 2 low HP. 25 seconds coming up on the clock. He may have to consider just keeping his gun.
I can actually feel your pain there.
Yeah.
At a Refresh not hitting the shot. But yeah,
I would have got him.
What's that? You would have? Okay, all right. All right, Tom. Let's not over-exaggerate your skills in Counter-Strike.
You haven't seen me play XM. I'm a filthy XM.
To be fair, I haven't seen you play.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
It's probably for the best that we both haven't seen each other play, let's be honest. But OPTIC now get themselves 1 step closer on round 14. FNATIC at 12. Yeah, it's painful to see. I think production specifically put that one in there just to make you feel worse.
They even switched the POV so that I got to see the pain in his eyes when it didn't work out. But well, CT side, they get the round anyway, so it doesn't matter about the XM flaws.
100% win rate with the XM.
Yes,
Not
exactly.
duels, but in rounds.
And actually, Config's going to kick things off into JW. He's been a man who's been able to sneak through, find openers, twist as well. Started to step up. Nico, I think that's the first time we haven't seen him get 2 kills in a while. Last few rounds, he's been running riot. Config quick to rotate in. Nice one tap at least. But the next few, not quite as impactful.
I like that composure, though, just to buy some time. He knows he has refresh off towards Vent as well to help him out. Instead of going for the re-peek and allowing them to focus just on Vent and Vent only. Just delays. And now Brolin up against 3 here. Optic going to be on match point now as they hit 15 mark. And FNATIC, they are in a rough spot here again after getting to the grand finals and coming in 2nd place up against Team Liquid in Sydney. And if you haven't seen it yet, I'm sorry, I just spoiled it for you. But this is not the showing that I was expecting out of them coming into this. Yes, we've had some close matches, but considering the performance and how well they were all playing individually when it came to Sydney, they were definitely struggling here up against Optic.
Yeah, and I have to give props over to the composure of Optic as well, because they were, what, 7-1 down or 7-0 down?
7-0 down, yeah.
Early in this game, they came back. FNATIC bring it all the way back to 12-12. They then win 3 in a row. Like, they really have been composed, and I think that's just impressive to see from this team, especially with, like, new members being added and being a relatively new roster, at least with the players that they have.
So they won 3 straight off the back of wow, if I get my words out. Off of a FNATIC, that's hard to say, off of a FNATIC timeout.
Yep.
So
it's
like
a timeout for the other team too.
Yeah.
They don't have to shut up while you're talking. So, yeah, they got to utilize it as well. Look at MSL. These are the sort of plays that were so impactful on Inferno, just the aggression that he was taking. That Molotov, I think, was actually his teammate's one. Forced him back a little bit, but didn't quite spread. Twist will actually be able to find a shot with the scout, but this is the problem. Nico's been here almost every single time. They will at least smoke him off this time. There is a rotation coming in the meantime, but once again, MSL ready and waiting. It's the standoff of the 2 scoped players. JW, in fact, is going to be the one to chime in to pick off another, so maybe this map isn't done quite yet.
Oh, JW. Just lurking in events. You can see Config trying to come around. Actually, it looks like they're just going to go for the save themselves. Again, they're hurting on money on top of things. 50 in the pocket for Config. Nico at 850. No need to lose any extra weapons here. And considering FNATIC had pretty much nothing in that buy. I mean, they had a scout, which Twist did get a great shot in. I think that was over towards ramp to allow them to take that position.
He also tagged up MSL for when the push came in from JW, so helped out quite significantly in that round. And yeah, the first kill that he managed to pick up actually gave them ramp control and the quick rotation. JW, he's going hunting. He wants to try and remove some of these weapons from the remaining players of Optic, but isn't going to be able to find anything. And once again, we see them in the exact same position that they had when they were on Inferno. They're having to fight for overtime.
Yeah, 15-13. We could see the exact same scoreline at 16-13, and that was a great little shot on the Snappy too, and JW as well with the spray onto MSL. Looks like Optic could take a little bit of a timeout. Again, they are hurting on money, and they obviously want to close this out to 2-0 because, again, like a 2-1 is much different than a 2-0 considering what we had happen. I think that was in Group B with NIP, with Devils or X-Devils 1 now with Heroic, and I think that was FaZe. 2-1s could spell you being knocked out or spell you coming in as a second. Depends on how the group does go.
Well, it is 15-13. CT side by definitely not ideal. They've got themselves a couple of AKs, the AUG that they managed to save, but the 2 UMPs definitely not ideal in these sort of late map scenarios. FNATIC definitely coming in with a better buy in this round. Already you can see same sort of peaks coming out from Twist, hoping to find the opener. Gonna be flashed off the angle. Luckily nobody around to actually peek into it.
You know, Optic have stopped giving up these angles to like JW. Remember we talked about earlier on, he was able to get 3 entry frags just like, you know, just like that, because they kept challenging out, especially through Squeaky. They've stopped that. They've just said, all right, we're going to give you that angle. We're not going to give you the ability to hit these shots anymore. And it seems like Optic have been able to really take some rounds consistently off the back of that.
Yeah, I think not giving an angle to Twist as well is probably a good idea, considering the way he's been playing so far. Brolin actually having a bit more of a quiet match, which the polar opposite to what we saw in the previous. Even still, late out of control being challenged. This time, actually MSL in a position that we haven't seen, I believe, anyone from the CT side, other than JW when he was burnt alive in the previous half. And Snappy back in his little gremlin angle, just holding below the boxes. Not planning on peeking his head out anytime soon. But it's going to be a late round take of ramp. JW, is he going to check this angle? He's already played here before, so he really should. And I think, there we go, wrap around. The memory of JW is enough to open up that first kill. And now the rotation just scurrying in from OPTIC as they try and get back into this B site. The thing is, though, they're not going to be able to deny the plant. Oh, it was actually pretty close. I didn't think the config was going to go for the wide peek out of the door. Crims instead finds another on the flank that he manages is enough to close out the round. The remaining players on the top of the site are just going to be forced to save. And now we even talk about money once again. Before they at least save 3 rifles going into this round. In this, they might not even be able to save anything. It's only Nico standing. And
the money's not going to be there for the next round too. I mean, they took the pause, they took the time to figure out what they wanted to do in this round, and it just didn't work out at all. Kind of a reverse. So what happened for FNATIC's luck when they took the timeout after tying things at the 12 apiece, and OPTIC took the next 3. So Nico looks like he will escape here with the AK, but will one AK be enough is going to be the question as we move into our 30th and final round here of our second map, at least in regulation time.
Yeah, and something, well, really going to have to change for OPTIC in this round if they are going to manage to stop it going to overtime, because, yeah, the money's not going to be there. There'll have to be some sort of hero play. Is Nico going to be the one to keep the AK? Will he drop a FAMAS, or is he going to just go for extra utility and maybe drop something else? Because if he drops even just one more rifle, they're going to have very limited utility unless all the other players are going with pistols. Now, we know that this has to be a OPTIC tactical pause because I believe FNATIC didn't have any left, so I think that will actually help out the Swedes a little bit. We saw the bounce back from OPTIC after the previous pause, but I think FNATIC may need that little bit of a calm just before the 30th round.
I do wonder, though, what is OPTIC going to go for here? Oh my gosh. So my favorite shotgun, the Mag 7, the big boy shotgun.
I saw you more as a Nova guy.
I mean, Nova is pretty nice. I'm not gonna lie. It reminds me of my Left 4 Dead days. Good old Bill. Well, we see OPTIC now on the charge here. They have a scout on MSL, and they have just a couple of pistols here for Snappy and Refresh. Do have a stack towards ramp here out of OPTIC. And it looks like MSL just going to be sitting very far back on CT side of outside. He's going to have an opportunity for a shot here. He's going to connect as well. Takes Brolin down low HP. Almost gets the second tag, which could have been really important considering Refresh again with a pistol. He peeks again a little bit wide this time, and Twist does drop him. And now I think the hopes of OPTIC closing this out in regulation is going to be diminished here.
And Config knows that JW's on the other side. Maybe going for a little bit of a cheeky play with the Mag 7. Both going to be playing in the corner towards the vent. Knows that there's not really many angles that they can be taking that will favor the weaponry that they currently have, especially if anybody goes towards Heaven. This is going to be a real troublesome time, and you have to look at how much map control FNATIC have currently gained. Like, they're looking into ramp. They've already wrapped all the way around, so they can pincer in from both sides. Now, luckily, Snappy is definitely considered this, but he's only going to be able to get one. And although now the CT side will have a lot of information, there's so much to do. But Nico, oh, his position's checked. JW just takes his head clean off, and well, now Config and Refresh a CZ and a Mag 7 to try and save the round.
It's a sentence I haven't heard too often. Goes for the long-range shot with the Mag 7 exists. Just going to say, nope, no chance here. And Refresh with the CZ. If he could pull this off, I would do unspeakable things like shave my head on stream again.
Same.
And not going to happen. Yeah, you don't have to do too much for that, do you? But Crims will eliminate him, and that will be an overtime here in our first match of the day.
Yeah, it really does seem that sort of both teams at the moment are unable to just admit that they've lost. Like, it was a 7-0 start, going all the way back to the half being very, very close in the end. Then we see another sort of great start. It gets brought back again by FNATIC, bringing it to 12-12. And then it goes all the way to 15, and you go, okay, OPTIC are now going to close it out, and then they lose the last 3 rounds.
Hey, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
The better games, the better for me. I enjoy watching these really close matches. I feel like Counter-Strike is honestly unrivaled when it comes to esports in terms of watchability and how exciting it can be when there's a very, very close matches. I'm sure you all saw when it came down FNATIC and NIP. And speaking of FNATIC and NIP, JW takes the head off of Nico. Not sure how that's related to NIP, but nonetheless, JW maybe looking for more. Oh, that's a shame. But Twist is going to be there. All right, Twist spraying through the doorway. Exists to open things up, and the pace has been sped up here for FNATIC. and even deny MSL a shot here in towards site.
Yeah, this is 16k, so not really a worry when it comes to CTs in terms of saving. Like, okay, maybe you want to keep an AWP just in case, but you're not really going to run out of finances here. So you might as well go for something. Snappy can try and be a hero.
Wait,
actually, MSL managed to find one.
How did he hit that shot? I hope we get to see that, because he wasn't even scoped in. He wasn't even looking that direction. Did he just hit like a long-range quick scope?
Maybe. Or the craziest no-scope of all time, but I doubt that very much.
You haven't seen my no-scopes then. I'm just kidding.
No one has. They don't exist.
Yeah, exactly. I could hit the broadside of a barn when I'm 3 feet away from it.
Well, MSL has just fallen into the save. Not going to be much you can do. Damage is worthless at this point. Like, FNATIC have enough money to buy in every single round on the T side. The same can be said for the CT side, but it's sort of one of those situations where do you really want to be trying to go for a 1 versus 4 AWP clutch into the site? It's not going to be happening. Maybe in like your Silver 1 games that you play, but other than that.
Why are you looking at me when you say that? Oh, that shot, that was... Oof. Silver 1, hello? I was at least an MGE. I was global at one time.
But to be fair, I think that's what Shroud was put back in it.
See, I'm as good as Shroud, right? That's what it's telling me.
Oh, once again, the door going to be open, giving Twist a chance. He connects onto MSL. This is something they've gone back to. Like, they stopped doing this because they were getting wrecked. Now they've gone back to doing it again.
But they messed it up again. There was their own Molotov off in the doorway. I feel like we've seen that so many times. I think even OPTIC's tried it before, and they've messed up a couple times as well. I'm not saying it's necessarily easy to do, but it's pretty much just throwing away the whole shtick of just going for that crazy little rush in towards the vent and get people down there.
Well, both teams taking a bit of early damage. Smoke's going to be thrown onto outside. Doesn't necessarily mean too much control is going to be gathered. You can see, I think the likelihood is the rest of the team are going to try and push in towards ramp.
Oh, they challenged that spot again. This is not the first time we've seen OPTIC challenge in through Squeaky and lose someone.
Well, yeah, Nico 2 rounds in a row has just died from that spot. So dies to JW at the very beginning of the round, and then Twist handed a kill. Snappy's been pretty damn good at holding onto the ramp, but the fact is now with a a 1-man advantage and MSL being low, this is going to be a tough call for them.
Oh no.
Falls off. Ooh, goes for the repeak. A little bit dicey, but there's MSL at least to hold the cross. JW go down. The Molotov a little bit late for anything else to be done. They're even going to send in another one.
That poor body just laying there.
Look at it.
Poor
25
JW.
seconds. They've got to get their move on. They really need to get down in towards the site. The CT's already looking to try and rotate in. Snappy just looking to hold down the fort, but only manages one. However, the cavalry has arrived. Config in place, but Crims closes him out as well. Bomb going to be going down with time to spare, and MSL spotted a pixel of the man planting the bomb, but didn't have any chance to end his life refresh. Too late to the party. So he's now left in a 1 versus 3. He's had some pretty impactful rounds so far, but definitely hasn't been one of his best performances. It would be great if he could steal something away here. Like as said, money really isn't an issue for the CT side. He might as well just run in like a headless chicken and try and headshot everybody at once, because saving is worthless.
No, it does get one. But one's not going to be enough there. And again, I hate to keep going back to this, but it's something we've seen when it's come to FNATIC on T side and OPTIC on CT, is when you give FNATIC an angle, like through Squeaky on outside, they're going to punish you for that. Yeah. And again, you talked about Nico. 2 rounds in a row, peeking through Squeaky, gets caught out. First time by JW, second by Twist. And when OPTIC started to get rounds on CT side, when they stopped giving those angles to FNATIC, when they stopped allowing them to get that initial entry frag, and then force OPTIC play from a man down. So I would hoping here in this this last round of the first half that they don't do that anymore, that they don't give those angles.
Well, yeah, even MSL's tag came in through that door as well. So that was actually Twist not only tagging MSL, but finding one of the opening picks that they gathered. I think that may have been more of a desperation play coming out from Nico, because they're already a man down, but there's been better avenues, let's put it that way. There's been positions that have been set up far better for OPTIC than that sort of peak exist. Just trying to clear up some of the upper angles, force players down, and it seems like we are seeing some repositioning out from the CT side. Smoke's going to be lined up onto outside once again. Now this is a position, they've been throwing down those smokes almost as a false herring over the last few rounds. Just say, oh look at the smokes, and then gone somewhere else. This time they're actually going to pressure outside.
Refresh will open things up here onto JW. And MSL gonna actually shoot between both, catches Brolin in the toe, and the toe is not gonna be enough to take him down, unfortunately. So we will see in the end of things a 1-for-1 trade. In the meantime, they're gonna be pushing down in towards Secret. Config gonna be waiting here. And Molotov could do some good work to actually split up the entirety of FNATIC, but they all run through it. Twist takes a hell of a lot of damage here. Nico comes in big with the kill onto Exist. Now Config's able to rotate back in towards Sight, but Brolin just takes the head right off of him. Snappy going to be here to support as well, and it looks like OPTIC might have been able to take a round here on the CT side as Brolin will fall.
Even still, though, Nico left on 7 HP, and Crim's still as healthy as you like. They're going to go rotating up, and well, we saw this fail miserably before. Crims now has to try and pull off something more difficult, but actually, Refresh not even going to take the risk. He'll just look to buy the time, get spotted out. Crims
like,
are just going to try and use the smoke, but Nico can spot him through the edge. So 1 round at least coming in, but I feel like now going into the CT side where all the money is going to be there for FNATIC, they're in a pretty good situation here.
I think they just have to be aware of the way OPTIC were playing in terms of the quote-unquote ratty plays, right? Of just like randomly setting these players into these weird positions to catch you off guard. I think when FNATIC really started to lose control of CT side is when OPTIC started to allow Refresh to just do his own thing. Because I was able to, multiple rounds in a row, like really open up onto positions for them. And we actually see a little bit of presence out of OPTIC on towards outside. That's going to be MSL there with Nico to support. We're not really going to see anyone challenging out onto MSL with that AWP.
Yeah, we saw barely any pressure thrown in from FNATIC all the way through the CT half, other than maybe a peek or two through Secret, and then just holding the cross.
Oh, nade! Oh my gosh! Just right on their heels. I mean, the 2 times we did see FNATIC put anyone outside, it was JW. He got caught off towards Secret, burned alive, got caught off behind Container as well. I think MSL knows there's going to be a player there. JW just spraying through, catches out a Config somehow, and he's still alive here. But he might get ramped on.
Here's the push coming around. MSL, oh, I think he spotted him, but Snappy saves his IGL's life by getting that kill. Crim's still waiting on the cross, spots out the booty. We'll find it as well. An attempted double spray down from Refresh, but it's not quite going to be enough. Pre-fire from Exist again. Not enough damage done to close this, but he's put his team in a decent position. Twist actually looking to rotate through the cursed vent. He's the only person who's actually made it out of here alive and found a kill into the 1v1 versus MSL earlier in the game. They're eventually going to have to go for the plant. Molotov actually going to go down just to deny the initial push coming through from Hut. Fact is, though, Brolin's in a strong position. Not much utility left. HE going to go out of the vent. Oh, there's the Molotov, nice. Though. He just found one on the floor. That will force out Snappy. Leaves it all onto Nico, and Twist puts him down. Map point for FNATIC. A chance to take this to Dust 2 and have us on a 3rd. OPTIC now have to fight for double OT.
It's not like it's going to be any easier, though, for FNATIC as we get to Dust 2. Obviously, a map they struggled with quite a bit when it came to Sydney, and looking at their results, OPTIC out of 5 maps played have an 80% win rate. FNATIC out of 8 maps played have a 38% win rate. So
at the same time, I think the last 2 that they won were versus NIP and Liquid. I think they beat Liquid in the best of 5 on Dust 2. So going in like that, you sort of go, okay, they probably gained a little bit of confidence over the last month playing Dust 2.
And sure as I'll hope so. And now they have a couple of rounds here to close this out. 2 left to go, and OPTIC need both of them to throw it into double overtime, as you mentioned before. MSL going to go for the peek directly into JW, and that was a fantastic shot coming through. You saw JW caught with his pants completely around his ankles.
That was like a deer in headlights.
Yeah.
Like, they're just staring.
That moment in time, he knew he messed up.
Absolutely nothing that JW could have done there, but well, we sort of said the same thing for OPTIC taking those peaks. There's a huge risk there, as it is one of the most contested angles early on.
And now OPTIC playing with the man advantage here. Can they maintain it? You can see Crims off to the side, looking towards Connector, and he's got a potential chance to mow them down. Spots out the shadow, gets the first, trying to retreat, gets a second, and almost gets a 3rd as well. Nico, just with 1 HP, stays alive by the skin of his teeth. But more importantly, Crims has equalized things at 3 apiece now for both these teams. And if anything, give them an advantage, because now Nico's been spotted. He still has that 1 health, and he's looking for the shot up against Brolin here. And FNATIC could close this out in style off the back of Crims.
And Nico has the bomb as well. Oh, that is such a sick little angle, though. Just pre-fires in, Exist. We'll be able to even up the personnel once again. Nade going down into ramp. I think he's considered that they might have crossed a little bit further than they actually have. Instead now they'll make their way down. Nico, like, jumping down there put me on edge.
Yeah.
He could have just killed himself in what could potentially be the last round, but they're going to know now that the rotations have come in. MSL is going to try and hold things off as the bomb will be planted. They've also pulled in Bogdan's lore as the AWP has been handed on to Nico now that he's on low HP, which definitely the right call to make.
Oh, they're both practically in the same position, though, which is really risky, but we'll expect two players to really be there here, Tom. Twist going to take down Nico now in the 1v2.
Yeah, but this is the problem. Like you said, will they expect a second player to be in the exact same spot? Because a lot of the time, this is not the best way to play the round. So they have the bomb perfectly positioned for MSL. Exist, though, just wide peeks out. And that is going to be map number 2 done. And Dust 2 has been brought back after